The traffic under Oshodi Bridge was loud that evening, the kind of loud that felt alive, restless, and impatient. Yellow buses shouted destinations through cracked speakers, conductors banged metal doors and yelled for passengers. Roadside radios competed with each other, and boys darted between cars holding nylon bags of pure water and gala, as if their lives depended on it. The smell of exhaust fumes mixed with dust and the sour scent of stagnant rainwater trapped in broken gutters. People moved quickly, aggressively, the way Lagos people always moved, like everyone was late to something important, like stopping for even a moment would cost them their future. Yet inside the black Rolls-Royce parked quietly beside one of the concrete pillars, the world felt frozen. The glass windows muted the chaos outside, and the leather interior smelled faintly of lavender and polish. Simon Bennett sat in the back seat without moving. His posture was stiff, his hands resting on his thighs, his breathing shallow. The window beside him was lowered halfway, allowing the city to intrude just enough for him to smell diesel, sweat, dust, and decay. He stared at one spot beneath the bridge, his eyes unblinking. At first, when he had noticed the woman from the road, he had dismissed the sight as imagination. Memory had a cruel way of playing tricks on him sometimes, especially when he was tired. He had spent years training himself not to look back, not to linger on the past, not to let emotion interfere with judgment. No, he had thought, but the longer he watched, the harder it became to deny. The woman bent slowly beside a large black trash can, her movements careful, almost ashamed. Her gown, once blue, was now brown with dirt and grease, torn at the shoulder and frayed at the hem. Her gray hair stuck out in uneven clumps, untied and uncombed, framing a face etched with years of hardship. Her hands shook as she reached into the trash, pulling out scraps of food, quickly hiding them beneath her gown, as though afraid someone might see. Something hot and painful spread through Simon's chest. "Sir," the driver said quietly from the front seat, glancing at him through the rearview mirror. Simon didn't answer. His jaw tightened. His eyes burned, but he refused to blink. The gold watch on his wrist caught the evening light, a reminder of the life he lived now. Tailored suits, private jets, meetings with men who controlled markets and governments. He always looked like money. He had built that image carefully. But in that moment, he didn't feel like a billionaire. He felt like a frightened little boy again. Slowly, deliberately, Simon pushed the car door open. "Sir," the driver said again, panic creeping into his voice. "Stay here," Simon replied, his voice low and firm. He stepped into the dirt beneath the bridge. People turned to stare immediately. Of course they did. A man in an expensive navy blue suit, Italian shoes, and a clean haircut did not belong here. Not under Oshodi Bridge, not at this time of day. But Simon didn't care. Every step toward the woman felt unreal, as though the ground beneath him wasn't solid. The noise of the city faded into a dull hum, and then the woman shifted slightly, and a street light illuminated her face. Simon stopped. His heart slammed violently against his ribs. It was her. Those eyes, tired now, dulled by suffering, but unmistakable. That jawline, the faint scar near her left eyebrow. He knew her. "Madame Agnes," he whispered. The woman froze. Her back straightened instinctively, like a soldier reacting to a command. Slowly, cautiously, she turned around. Her hands clutched something close to her chest. She stared at him. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Years of hardship stared back at him through her eyes. The question struck him harder than any insult ever had. This was the woman who had carried him on her back through floodwaters. The woman who had fought death itself to keep him alive. And now she didn't recognize him. "It's me," Simon said, swallowing hard. "Nothing." He stepped closer. "Madame Agnes, little Simon from Ajagun, the boy who almost drowned in the canal." Her eyes widened. The food slipped from her hands. "Oh," she whispered. Simon nodded, tears finally spilling. "Yes." Right there under Oshodi Bridge, the man newspapers called the silent Billionaire dropped to his knees in the dirt. He took her cold hands in his and cried, not loudly, not dramatically, but deeply, from a place that had never healed. "I looked for you," he whispered. She cried too, like a mother reunited with a lost child. And when accusations of witchcraft erupted from the crowd, Simon stood like a shield between her and the world, defending her with fury and truth, lifting her gently into his car, promising she would never touch trash again. That night, he took her home. She bathed, she ate, she prayed, and by morning, she was gone. Madame Agnes died peacefully, her face calm, her hands folded as though still in prayer. Simon buried her in soft rain, mourning openly for the first time since childhood. And then Olivia came, a young woman with gentle eyes and a quiet strength, carrying Madame Agnes's stories, her kindness, her faith. Through Olivia, Simon learned the truth about Henry, about Lee's injustice, about love that survived even death. Together, they rebuilt what was broken. They turned an abandoned house into a refuge. They gave forgotten children a home. And through it all, Madame Agnes lived on, in laughter, in kindness, in the quiet wind that whispered forgiveness beneath the stars.